tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads from over 200 countries and your number one source in after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
I need a gator in my life. What up, everybody? Welcome to Big Brother After Show, AFTERBUZZ TV.
AFTERBUZZ TV.
We're here to buzz. This is the spot. Thanks for tuning in. I am your host, Ryan Hooks. Joining me on the panel. Joining me on the panel today, the beautiful Francisco Thurston.
Stop it! Stop it!
You're so dreamy. That little bow tie.
You're so dreamy in your tie.
It's awfully pretty in here today. That's all I have to say. Just the two of us today. Bringing it home.
The sexiest panel in town.
The best looking panel on the streets. Here we are talking Big Brother. All right, so what did you think about this week as a collective whole?
It was a predictable week. From the moment Caleb won HOH to the final episode, I knew everything. I knew everything that was going to happen. I knew the way it was going to unfold. I could predict everything, and I was like, all right, so this is just going to be like a snore fest kind of all week.
I am very inclined to agree with you that this week was very predictable. Obviously, there's always that little doubt in your mind, like, oh, well, what if Christine wins the power of veto, or what if this happens? But for the most part, it pretty much played out exactly how we thought it would this week. And it goes all the way back to, like you said, with Caleb winning HOH last week, which it was nice. We finally got to see like a very physical challenge. Like we've been talking about it for weeks. I think the HouseGuests have known it's coming. And this was grueling. It was a really long competition. They were in it for over 2 hours. They were basically slipping and sliding down a greased trap, filling a snowman full of icy, soapy water. Goopy goop, whatever. Apparently there was frozen water in the back that if you scooped it helped fill up faster.
Yeah, you created slush, and you had to. That was one of Nicole's mistakes, because they said on the live feed. She was talking to Christine. She was telling Christine, giving her tips instead of, like I said, I felt like last week she should have been like on the boys' balls a little bit and being like trying to help them out.
Maybe she should have been cuddling with Cody a little bit this week.
She should have done something.
Although, as we saw, by this week, it didn't do any good for anybody.
No.
All right, so yeah, pretty much Caleb wins the HOH competition, but he does hurt his knee. And throughout this week, we saw a lot of kind of back and forth about... We're getting to the point now. This week, there is nowhere to hide.
No.
I mean, Victoria, obviously, at this point, we might as well keep her to the end. She's, and some of our YouTube people were talking this week. We go back and forth and give Victoria a hard time. We mean it in the nicest way possible. She is there, and at this point, you know what? She probably is going to win the second place $50,000 because someone's going to take her with him.
Yeah, someone said that on YouTube, actually, and I agreed with them.
But at the same time, you cannot doubt the fact that she has played a very lackluster game. She has not won any competitions, any vetoes, anything at all.
I think she won one veto.
They gave it to her.
Yeah.
It was they let her win kind of veto, and she hasn't even competed in the aspect of that she was close to winning.
Yeah.
So in the realm of floaters, she is by far the ultimate floater this week and every week and throughout this season. So, again, apologize if we offended anybody for talking about Victoria, but it's true. She's not playing the game, and we wish that there was more from her.
Yeah, I mean, that's, as super fans of Big Brother, and obviously we come here for a reason and talk about Big Brother, we obviously want the players to play the game, and to see somebody who's not playing the game, it's kind of like...
I feel like nobody's playing the game right now other than Derek.
Derek's the only one.
Frankie's sort of there, but at this point he's so hated that...
Frankie is playing, and I think he's kind of being overshadowed because Derek is the good guy right now.
They're editing him better.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can tell like his overzealousness of playing. Like anytime anything happens, whoever wins, he's like on their ass immediately. Like you just saw him run to Derek after he won that second HOH tonight, and you saw it with Christine when she won the veto, and he's like, it's almost like he wants the attention of being the first one to give them attention.
Yeah, Frankie, I mean, that'd be my, I guess, trying to get in the good graces of somebody who's winning. But I do kind of want to touch on our YouTube fans, they talk about how Derek hasn't been the nicest guy and how he hasn't been. Yeah. He's said some crazy stuff on, the live feeds and whatnot too. So, like you said, Frankie's not being edited in the best light, and I think Derek is obviously being edited in the good light.
Well, I mean, in defense of everyone in the Big Brother house, what we see and what we think is going on is not always the case. I think things are blown out of proportion. So, like, for example, this week, there's a really big story going around that Frankie basically made a comment about tag teaming on Victoria, basically insinuating that they would rape her. It was on TMZ. I watched a video of it, and there was a point where it was just insinuation and people took it too far. But as I watched the video, I really thought that like he was just going too far.
Yeah, he kept doing it over and over and over again.
And like you could tell that Caleb felt awkward. Cody was like, "Wow, this is weird." Christy, everyone was weirded out by it. So yes, he went too far with whatever he said or did, and I don't know if it's right for them to say that they want an apology from his family and his sister. Like, that's just like celebrities. It has nothing to do with Ariana Grande or Frankie's mom or anyone. It's Frankie doing something stupid. So Frankie should then have to be the one to own up to it.
Yeah, I just think it was inappropriate.
But what I'm going to get to then is the defense of everyone in the house. So you have absolutely no entertainment. You have nothing to do but hang out with the 6, 7, 8, 10 people that you're with all the time. You can't even go outside they're limited on the time outside. So at some point it becomes a matter of you're doing anything and everything you can to entertain yourself. If it's going too far with a joke that you guys think is funny at the moment, people that are watching the live feed aren't taking it the same way that you are making it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that goes for anything ever. Like, sometimes you think you're funny, but you're actually not funny, and people aren't taking it like that.
Or even someone saying, "Oh, Brittany, you're a fat bitch." Like, do they really mean like, "Brittany, you're a fat bitch," or it's like, "Brittany, you're such a fat bitch"? Like, where is it taken out of context?
Yeah, I can agree with that, but the Frankie one, was right.
It got excessive pretty quickly. So hopefully he'll apologize and own up to it. The same time,
I think once he sees how ridiculous he looked on TV, or I mean on the live feeds, and he wound up on TMZ for that, I think he'll.
The best was so one of the articles that somebody posted was like, "Well, Frankie Grande finally became an article on TMZ." Not for what he was hoping for, but because he's so dying to be this celebrity. But
love it.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, I think things at times can be taken out of context. Again, not defending anyone's actions, because they at times can be malice. And at the same time, could you imagine being locked in a house with somebody? God, just imagine how much they get on your nerves.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in casts for 8 months, like in Tokyo Disney, or like even sometimes when I'm at work, I'm like, man, geez, I just want to get away from these people right now.
And you can leave. You're not even restricted to them. Yeah. You have technology. You have entertainment. You can get a book. There are things you could do to get away from those people, and you're going crazy with them for 8 hours. Imagine being with someone 24/7 for 3 months.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, obviously, you like these people and you love these people, but sometimes
at the same
get
time,
on your nerves.
I like my mom, but at the same time, I just want her to shut up and leave me alone.
Amen. I agree.
So, Mom, I love you.
Mom, I love you.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about this Sunday's episode a little more. So, Derek decides to go for the 5,000 hollahs and win the $5,000, which, you know what? Good for him. His game right now is he's getting money for his family, anything and everything he can do to support his wife and his daughter. He saw he wasn't going to win. And at the same time, it continues to go with his game plan to not win things, but still be in the kind of middle so that people don't see him as a threat.
Holla. You sound just like
some of them are really funny though. Hey, holla at your boy. Holla. Actually, I think it sounded like Frankie.
Kind of.
Like every time I heard it, I was like, is that Frankie? Like, holla.
You sound just like it. That's crazy.
And
I love every time Derek's like, hey, or like whatever, how he reacts.
I think he probably has to react. Yeah. Like, I feel like he has to holler back.
Maybe. I don't know.
I feel like that would be a rule. Like, if they holler at you, you got to holler back. But everyone was getting into it throughout the episode, hollering back. And they're like, you know what? It is what it is. And
might as well embrace it.
You might as well do it because you're going to have to deal with it
all summer long.
But I do like, though, it came several times at really, really like tense, inappropriate times.
Just awkward.
Like just right when they were about to start talking about something, holla! like it was like, hey, listen, let's talk about who we're going to nominate. Holla! And it was like, oh, what? And they like interrupted. And it was almost like, okay, this is funny. I get it. But at the same time, it almost was distracting to me because I wanted to hear the important thing they were about to talk about.
Yeah.
The game strategy that they were bringing up.
Can't control it, though.
You can't control that.
Well, obviously the producers are
There's somebody sitting
it.
back there like, ha ha, holla, ha ha, holla, holla.
Holla, 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 holla.
It's like a little kid with a button that says do not push. Everyone, you know what it is? I bet it's by the snack cart and all the production assistants just walk by and push it.
They're like, push me.
It's probably just a random button that nobody knows what it's for. And people are walking by hitting it all day. That's what I would do as a producer. I would just be like, I'm going to put this over here.
That'd be so annoying because people would push it all day.
They'd just be walking by pushing it, like production people.
Like one of those staple buttons that says push me.
All right. I think that we should also talk, since we're talking about people talking about stuff. Victoria was talking a little trash about Christine this week.
Yes.
And I did like that Victoria was also wearing Derek's hat.
It's getting a little personal.
It's getting scandalous. Because you know when people start swapping clothes in the Big Brother house, it gets real.
All of a sudden they're cheating.
And Christine getting booed. We're going to talk about that. That's later on. That's later on that we need to talk about Christine getting booed. So Nicole, though, this whole week, I almost felt bad for Nicole.
She was so defeated.
She's so nice and so sweet, and she was playing the game at least more than the other half of the house.
Her downfall was admitting to Derek that he's playing the best game.
Oh, when she compared him to Dan?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
big downfall. I think she possibly could have had a chance. Derek wanted her to stay.
I think Derek would have kept her if that conversation didn't happen.
She kind of threw herself under the bus a little bit.
Shout out to Dan Giesling, though.
Yeah, you're a legend.
Winner of season 10, runner-up in season 14.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's hardcore to win.
I don't know if I'd compare Derek to him, though.
I wouldn't either, but they are both equally playing a very good game.
Yeah, they're both, but he actually won challenges and stuff and made some big moves. And Derek's been very strategic.
I love the edit of him just like calling him out like, I don't like you.
Yeah,
you're my friend.
I love it.
And we need that. Like that. I miss Zach. Like at least Zach was doing stuff that was calling out people. You know.
Nicole nailed it on the head. She said, "You guys are playing Big Baby right now."
Big Baby right now.
Like literally, this entire summer almost has been a game of Big Baby. No one wants to get any blood in their hands.
Who can be the least?
Who can go under the radar and make moves that everybody in the house agrees on? No, that's not how you play Big Brother.
And I commented when we were watching the episode how almost every vote has been almost unanimous.
It has, because people are controlling it. No one wants to step over the line or, throw another dart at somebody else's game. Like, it's not happening, and it's like frustrating because I'm a Big Brother fan. I'm like,
and you want that to happen. So, and with the vote this week, because Nicole does go to Caleb and asks, hey, from one country folk to another, let's think about this game and what's beneficial for you? Because is it beneficial for you to keep these players and get 5th place or 4th place? What, at this point it might be 5th place, because we kind of assumed that it was going to be the 4 that are there and Christine, minus Victoria, obviously. So now Victoria is still there and she'll probably stick around to the end. So basically, who's playing for 3rd place and 2nd place and, or 3rd place and 4th place, rather?
One of those boys needs to, smarten up and get Victoria out this week. Personally, I know it sounds dumb and it's not like a big game move, but if I was one of those boys and I won HOH, I'm like, Victoria needs to go because I need a chance to get into that final 2.
It's better.
It's better.
It's better for the remaining contestants. You're right, to get rid of Victoria now.
If she stays, she's going to the final 2 no matter who gets to that point. They're choosing Victoria. So if I was one of those boys, I'm like, she needs to go. Someone needs to make that move because I would want a chance to at least to get $50,000.
Right. Play for 2nd place. And, this whole week with everything, to me, like I said last week, Cody lost Big Brother for me last week because he didn't put Frankie up. To me, Caleb lost this week when he didn't put Christine up.
They both had chances to make a move,
and this was their chance to stand out, to do something that's notable, that will get them in the final, that will get them something, that will get them a little bit of money or notice or anything, a little Big Brother fame. So to me, Caleb lost Big Brother this week.
I think they're so stuck and focused on the 4 boys getting to the final 4 that none of them are thinking about making big game moves. They just want to get to the final 4, and then they're going to be like, ah.
Well, and it's funny too, and I was talking to you about this as we were watching the episode. It's interesting, though, that I'm bashing on Cody and Caleb for not making moves this week. But at the same time, I said to you that, you know what? This move for Derek makes sense to go with us. Because Derek has been playing this I'm not going to win. I'm playing the victim. He's been doing that, and that's been his game. So for Derek's game, that was the right move because he doesn't need to make a big game move at this point to win because he is already, in everyone's opinion, the favorite.
He's already mastermind and moved puzzle pieces and gotten people out.
And I wrote that on my notes this week. He's so far ahead of everybody.
Yeah.
Like, it's outrageous.
Like, when they get down to that final speech, if Derek is sitting in there and he has to talk about what he's done, he doesn't need any challenge wins underneath his belt.
No.
He got Donnie out. He got Nicole out. He got Zach out. He's gotten everybody out.
He's been involved in moving of every major puzzle piece in the episodes.
He's had his hand in everything, and people have listened to him, and he's literally gone undetected.
I love, though, this week with Derek on Wednesday's episode when he was sitting with Caleb, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to talk to Caleb, and he's like, this is how I'm going to win $500,000. 1, I'm going to build up his ego. 2, I'm gonna tell him I'm gonna, and he was talking about what he was doing as he was doing it, and it was the diary room was after the fact, obviously, that he was saying that, but he was like spot on with what he was doing to Caleb, and that clearly works for Caleb because it's worked with Frankie doing it, and it's worked in the past with other people getting to Caleb, getting to his ego, and basically upplaying his head and getting underneath his shadow, basically, of his swollen head, and it was brilliant.
I feel like it kind of goes with his him being an undercover cop. Like you kind of have to get into people's minds a little bit. And Caleb deemed himself beast mode cowboy. This guy obviously has a big ego, So you have to play to this guy's ego, obviously, because it's very apparent that he's so into himself and has such a high And
he thinks there was a lot of comments this week about him thinking that he is running the show and he is still in charge of the detonators, and that's just with Frankie and Derek building up his ego, making him think that, and he's delusional enough to believe it,
and it's working.
And here we thought Frankie was the delusional one in the group. Clearly it's not.
He's not. Caleb's very delusional.
My hashtag for the week is beast mode fail.
Yes, we were talking about that.
Beast mode fail. Hashtag that all week long because clearly beast mode has failed us.
Beast mode wussy.
All right, so the veto competition this week, pretty much everyone goes up except Frankie to play, and he was like, I gotta get in this competition, I gotta make sure I'm safe, and he doesn't get picked out.
Wah, wah, wah.
Wah, wah, wah. Dude, I liked this competition though. The BB TNT, BB Blast, basically.
It looked painful.
That was intense explosions of paint and chalk and debris.
You seen their face after, and it was almost like disbelief that just happened.
That Cody had that crap up his nose, and he was like, I'm really good with colors. He was out first. And he had to dress up like a dino.
It's actually cute on him.
It's funny that he's like embracing it because he's running around the house like with his arms up. And then on tonight's episode, they showed him trying to jump on the couch, and he fell.
So funny. I don't think anybody saw it either. No. It would have been funny if people saw it, but it was just like a...
That's like the new thing, because remember a couple weeks ago there was a moment where he was sleeping and he punched himself in the face, and then he woke up and looked around to see if somebody hit him.
Nobody did it.
He went back to sleep.
I love it.
Poor Cody, they're just picking on him.
He's gonna have some of the best gifs on freaking online of just showing him doing stupid stuff,
hitting himself. That's gonna be the funny thing to look for this week on Twitter is gifs of Cody running around in the suit. All right, so with this week with Caleb. He's getting scared a little bit of Frankie and everything that's going on, and he's getting paranoid. And I think that this week Nicole was on the right track, and I feel like if she maybe had a little bit better tactic about it, she could have persuaded Caleb. Do you think that at all?
I don't think she could have persuaded Caleb. I don't think he was on her bus. But like I said, that conversation with Nicole and Derek was her downfall.
That sealed Nicole's fate. Yeah. So if Nicole hadn't made those comments to Derek, does she stay?
Possibly. I think there was a good chance of Frankie going up. I think there was a really good chance. But then, I don't know though, because Caleb is he was very sure about Frankie being on his side. He was like, no. He's smart, but then he's delusional too. I feel like he sounds like a smart guy at times. And
talking about Caleb?
Yeah. So I think he kind of knows that Frankie's on his side.
I go back and forth with him because there are moments with Caleb where he says things and he seems very perceptive and he seems very aware. And then there are other times where he just seems and appears so delusional and so out of the loop of what's actually happening around him.
Yeah.
So I want to think that at some point it's possibly a game move that he is actually smart and gets what's going on, but understands his role within that. Because, if you look at Caleb's role in this whole thing, he is very much the soldier. He is very much the enforcer of the will of others. And he is playing that role very well in the aspect of sitting out against the competition of Frankie, being very loyal to the people around him, agreeing to do things, helping people out. And that's, if that's his role, he's doing a good job doing it. Although, maybe he's just fallen into that because that's his personality type.
Yeah. I think he's smart, but again, his ego is so big that, he's kind of delusional in the same sense. He's so stuck on himself and thinks he's like the best, but he's also smart.
So who's the most delusional and has the biggest ego in the house, Frankie or Caleb?
Caleb.
You think Caleb's ego is bigger than Frankie's?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think they're tied for ego.
They're tied?
Delusional Caleb.
Caleb is delusional in the aspect of what's going on around him. I think Frankie's delusional in the fact that people care that he's Ariana Grande's sister, or like.
I don't think he cares about that. I think he knows that he's on a thin rope in that house. You could see it. I don't think he thinks.
I was hoping he was going to go home. He has turned into the most hated Big Brother player of all time.
And I honestly had big hopes for Frankie at the beginning.
I think we all did. I think everyone had big hopes for him.
I was like, he's going to be such a great player. He's personable. He's funny. He's talented. And he went in the house and just went on a downward spiral. And it was just
now he just stares at himself. Because if you watch him on the cameras, he's always staring right at the camera. But it's him looking in the mirrors, fixing his hair.
Checking himself out.
Looking at himself. And I was commenting on that on Sunday, and I watched and was like counting how many times he looked right at the camera and was talking, but he was talking to somebody else over here, and he's like, blah, 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 blah. Oh, let me fix my hair. And it was like, really?
He's putting his makeup on in I think he was looking at like one of the windows.
Yeah. They're all mirrors. They're two-way mirror glass that have cameras behind them.
He actually, Ryan pointed at, he's like, watch, he's going to look himself in the mirror as he was exiting the confessional.
Oh, after he put the vote up this week, he looked right at himself as he's dancing. He's like, look at me dancing in the mirror.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I read another really good article this week about Frankie, talking about him and his delusional aspects and thinking that people actually care, and the reason that people are starting to hate him. And it's just really interesting because it's getting very prevalent on the internet that people are hating him.
He did it to himself.
For the things that he's saying with talking about raping Victoria or insinuating that to other people to do it, and with us thinking about caring about his sister. And apparently one of the other things he said was, he's like, I have my family's name to protect. And
doing a very good job.
The article was talking about, like, do you mean your family's name because it's not really that big of a deal, or do you mean your sister's brand, which means she can't get sponsorship now because of you being stupid?
Yeah, I feel like that's such a huge thing. I mean, Ariana obviously can choose to be like, I am no way affiliated with what he's saying on that show, but then again, it's like, you're related to him.
Well, and the other thing that the article really touched on, which is huge to me, is the fact that when they failed the Team America mission before, and he just outright said, like, it wasn't, he was calling out America, like saying he didn't care, like that pissed a lot of people off.
Well, he also, my friend Becky texted me, she's like, Frankie's talking about how America's not ready for drag queen.
Yeah, because he dressed up like Joey.
I was like, no, it was because the challenge was stupid.
It was so stupid.
Nobody wants to sit and watch you guys do a play.
It's just him wanting to perform and be in front of people.
It's Big Brother. America has been sending you on missions to do things in the game. They don't want to watch you entertain each other doing a play. They want to see you guys making moves.
All right, so since we're on it real quick, let's talk about Thursday's Team America mission. So this week they have two options that they're voting for right now. Number one is to wear down the competition by convincing everyone to fast for 24 hours but secretly eat. And number two is to wear down the competition by convincing them that there's a rodent in the house and spend 24 hours looking for it.
No one will be able to convince me to fast on anyone's dream or anything. No. I love to eat.
I think that both of these are stupid.
Really dumb.
I don't even care, honestly, about these two missions. Like, the only thing that I would think would be mildly entertaining is if they convince the house that there's a rodent, I know that Victoria's going to freak out.
Yeah,
and you know that Caleb and Cody are going to get all dressed up in costumes and run around.
Oh, there's a mouse in the house!
And they're going to be like crazy. He's like, I'm going to Tyrannosaurus Rex, I'm going to eat it. Like, that's what I see. Like, that's the better of the two to me.
But if you were smart and you think about it, if there was a mouse in the house, production would do something to get rid of a mouse in their, like, lot. As a logical person, I would think that CBS would do something to get rid of.
Where would the mouse even come in and out? That's the thing.
Yeah.
The house is so locked down that It doesn't even matter.
They would obviously, production would do something so that mouse wasn't like eating things or wires. Like that's obviously dangerous to production and cameras and stuff.
Yeah.
So, and then again, no one convinced me not to eat. Sorry, Felicia.
Bye, Felicia.
Bye, Felicia. Not happening.
So Nicole gets voted out this week, which was pretty much what we saw coming before because she was the odd man out. And I'm surprised she made it this long. Honestly, I thought she was going to get voted out after the first week.
After Christine won veto, once that happened.
Yeah. So once Christine won the veto competition by not getting blown up, I actually had hope for Nicole because she's really good at these memory challenges usually.
She was almost there.
She said apparently her short-term memory isn't as good as her long-term memory.
Those things went by so quick. I was like,
I wonder if like when they showed them to us, if they actually went by that quick to them.
Yeah, I feel like it had to have been a little bit slower.
If she had time to make up the songs in her head. And I was actually playing the game along, and I actually lost on the same one that they did.
I was out on like 3.
Oh, yeah. So and you're like, okay, red, green, blue, yellow, red, green, blue, yellow, green. And that's how I would play it. And I would just start at 3 and then go to 4. And then
I think I went out with Caleb when he got eliminated. That's when I got...
It got intense when they did the red with bright or the green with black because the black and the white aspect really threw a wrench.
Do any of you YouTubers or viewers at home ever play the challenges when you have a chance at home as if you're in the house? See how you do. Comment below and let us know.
Tell us how you feel.
Because I do that. I sit at home and I play the challenges.
Me too. I always play on every game. And I love the ones like on Survivor when they're underwater. I try to hold my breath. Like while I'm watching TV, I'm sitting in the room holding my breath. Or like Amazing Race when they're doing something that requires underwater activity. So I play.
I play.
If you play, let us know.
Because I want to know if I was in the house, would I be able to win that HOH? I'm like, oh my gosh. And yeah.
It's stressful. And also, you can go on to our podcast information on iTunes. Check us out. Download our shows. Set it on repeat. Give us a 5-star rating. Tell us what you think. We love talking to people on Twitter and on iTunes and on YouTube about the show.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if it's negative or positive. We still like to get into it and talk Big Brother.
I do. I love all of
Francisco's over here getting all kinds of dirty this week on YouTube.
People are just sometimes really mean.
Well, stop being...
I'm very nice. People are just sometimes not appropriate with things they say.
It's okay, Francisco. You're still pretty.
Oh, you're pretty.
Oh,
the blue shirt is bringing out your blue eyes.
Let's blink at the camera. Hey, everyone. All right. So, yeah.
I'm thirsty.
Oh, snap.
I'm thirsty. Let me get a drink of water.
Oh, snap. I wish Brittany was back here. Speaking of being thirsty, I like looking at her.
You're thirsty. Drink of water.
I want to talk about the veto competition some more because basically we know what happened.
Yeah.
Christine won. Derek threw it. I wonder if you would have got... I think you would have got that one right.
Yeah.
Because did you notice the color he grabbed was the right color, but it had the wrong accent colors on it?
Mm-hmm. It sucked that that's how it went down. Both
I know.
Derek and Nicole just eliminated on the same one.
That was a punk move by Derek. Again, keeping things the same. And, she took himself out. And, we put up Victoria. And I even wrote in my notes really big, like, lame. 2 weeks in a row. Lame. So...
Nicole's gone.
And double eviction and a new twist for tonight's episode. So let's talk about the twist, actually, before we talk about the evictions. Because the twist was kind of thrown in at the very end, and they didn't explain it too much. But essentially, there's going to be a button placed in the house. Mm-hmm. And if somebody pushes the button throughout the week, it's called Big Brother Rewind. If the button is pushed, then the whole week rewinds and starts over. So if you're nominated and you push the button, you are taken down, and the week goes back to HOH.
During the live eviction episode, you guys play an entire week of... Do they play it all in one episode is the question.
I think so. And also, for next week, they are changing the times of the show, so they are going to be on Tuesday and Wednesday this week, instead of Wednesday and Thursday for those of you that watch at home, because of CBS Thursday Night Football that is now starting and playing.
Wah, wah.
I know. Well, there's a football game on tonight, and I think it's only for next week. I think there's like a 2-game special event.
I think it's for the rest of the season. That's what Julie said, I think. They're changing their times.
Well, the football games, I guess for the East Coast, that would be different. But in the West Coast, it doesn't air out here until after the football games.
True.
Because the football games air out here at 5:30 instead of, East or 5 o'clock.
Guess we'll have to see next week.
Yeah, after this next week, we'll see if the times go back to the regular time. If not, they're going to play out on different time slots. And so I hope the button gets pushed. And you saw at the end after the eviction that they were talking like Caleb's
going to push that button.
Caleb is going to be the one to do it. He's the kid who can't not push the button. Frankie's like, no, don't push the button.
There's part of me that is happy about the button, and there's part of me that is not excited about the button because if they finally put into motion a plan to get rid of Frankie, and then the button get pushed. I'm like, oh,
this is the week that, yeah, exactly. Someone finally does something that we've been wanting them to do for the last, since the game started. And then somebody pushes the button and it gets ruined. And then somebody else gets, like Victoria gets put up and goes home.
I feel like there's going to be some kind of I know production.
Incentive to push it.
Incentive, but also I feel like I know production has in all the contracts and blah blah blah, like Heaton said last week, but I feel like there's going to be some kind of when they're doing their confessionals, because obviously there's a producer in confessionals asking you questions and telling you,
prompting you.
They're like, do you want to press the button? Are you intrigued to press the button? I feel like there's going to
be in their ear,
yeah,
reminding them the button is there to be pushed.
I feel like there's going to be some kind of that push to push the button with the producers running the confessionals.
I agree. I feel like they have to. I feel like there's got to be something always holla, push the button.
Yeah.
Holla,
push the button.
That's what I want. It's 5,000 push the buttons.
Push the button. Push the button.
Push the button. Push the button. Push the button.
That'd get annoying.
That would get annoying.
Okay.
Holla. All right. So with this week's double eviction, after the vote for Nicole to go home, I did like that. Again, we talked about this before, that she calls out people in this week, and she called out Caleb, to Victoria for being a wuss. Right before the votes, basically you know what? No one's playing this game. Everyone's just punking out.
Nobody's playing.
Beast mode fail again. And, he even, is telling Caleb that they're suggesting that they put him up. And Caleb, man, shut your mouth. That's the reason. Again, I've said this before, multiple times. The reason that Derek is going to win this game is because he doesn't run to other people and tell them what someone said. Everyone else in this house at one point or another has ran to somebody else and told them something that a third party has said, and it's just it's made people get in trouble.
I feel like we're going back to week 1, 2, 3, where everyone's telling each other the truth. God. I'm like, just keep information.
The purpose of this game is to tell lies.
Lies,
deceit, backstabbing, and that's what we want. I want someone to get bloody.
Seriously, it's time. It's time.
We have no choice, because sooner or later everyone's gonna have to go home except for the remaining 3.
They've finally gotten to that point where all the boys are there. They have Victoria, their pawn, to take to the end, and now it's time to throw some darts at each other.
And this week, so Caleb tells Frankie that they suggested putting him up, and name drops Cody. Frankie tells Derek tells Cody, and it's a full circle because everyone tells everybody everything, and it was stupid for Caleb to do it in the first place, but now at the same time, I think it's good. It's just going to start a little tension between Frankie and Cody.
In Caleb's, I feel like, just playing devil's advocate a little bit, in Caleb's mind, I feel like it was smart for him in his brain to go tell Frankie, because now it's getting to that point, he has to protect himself and not be you know what, someone else going to tell Frankie. But it blew up in his face because Derek is smart and he knows how to derail from that.
Yep.
And so it kind of it was a little bite in the butt for him. Didn't really work.
The double eviction this week had a second HOH competition that Derek won on the first question.
Oh my God, fail.
Dude, fail. We were sitting I got it right and you got it wrong.
Well, I said yes when you were kiss. I was like, yeah. And then they said massage and I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I said
massage.
Kisses before they even gave the answer, because I remember that episode when he was bawling and he's like, I miss your kisses, and I was like, that's really cute, because I was thinking about his beard and tickling kisses, and
then they said massage and I was like, that sounds right. And then,
but she, in the letter, I think she said, and Caleb was saying, I think she said misses his hands.
Yeah, I think that was in a second letter or something.
Maybe. It was good because no one got it right, and Derek won on the first question. Frankie was immediately up his butt. Pretty quick, they put up Christine and Victoria.
Predictable.
Yep. And then he even said, I'm going to go with the house.
It was. Ooh, Caleb.
Again. And
Frankie and Cody.
And I hate to say this and do this, but because we've been complaining about everyone else, it worked for Derek.
It does work for Derek, but again, I'm like...
I know. I didn't want it to happen, but it at least with Derek and where he's at, it works for him, because that's...
It works for his game and how he's been playing, but at the same time... After all these weeks where he's been throwing out people's names and Frankie and blah, 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 it was time to finally do something, and he didn't. When he could have actually put his name on something instead of all the, he
all
said,
the
she say.
Yeah, that he spun stories. This is the moment where he got somebody out of the game.
He could have been like, I did that.
I actually, and you were, I think, on the same page with me. I wanted Christine to win this veto because I wanted them to have to put somebody up.
Yeah, I wanted to see that.
It would have been Frankie. I mean, that was kind of the obvious choice.
And then we would have had how we wanted him to go home.
Frankie going home, and then we wouldn't have to hear him anymore.
No.
Him and the Zanky relationship would pick up in the Big Brother house.
I feel like the house would be so boring, though, without Frankie. There's no Zach, no Frankie. It's going to be Derek, Cody, Caleb, and Victoria.
You're right. That would be terrible.
I'm like,
I'm bored already just thinking about it. Let's move on to something else. All right. So with this week, I love that Christine walks out when she gets voted out and doesn't talk to anybody. Just out the door. Gets booed outside, like hard.
Dang.
Hard got booed.
I expected at least a hug to Cody.
Yeah.
It was out of his hands. He could have.
Right. And she even said it, and I agree with this 100%. As Cody, you don't vote for her. There's no point. The vote's out of your control. Your one vote isn't going to make a difference. Your sympathy vote isn't going to make a difference. You're only going to make yourself look bad for next week for people still in the house.
Yeah.
So you don't make that sympathy vote.
No. I agree. I just wish she probably, she spent all freaking summer long canoodling with him.
Playing with his hair, seeing when
giving him a hug goodbye.
When she even said, she's like, Tim, I love you. You're sexy, to her husband.
I love you, sexy.
All right. Do you think that the booing was necessary?
I think it was really harsh.
It was really harsh. Like I felt like she was about to break down.
Personally, even though we can sit here and form our opinions and say this and that, we don't know what it's like in the Big Brother house.
Right. And
so it's like...
yeah, I mean, again, it becomes a matter of missing affection. Mm-hmm. You're with someone you live with, and you're with them all the time. You see them every single day. You go to sleep with them every single night, and you're away from that. Like, that's awkward a little bit for someone.
But then again, it doesn't give her the excuse to go.
Right. It's not an excuse to do it. But at the same time, I understand why everyone in the Big Brother house at some point or another, they sleep together. They're cuddling with each other. They crave physical affection. And,
as anybody would. It's human.
As anyone would. Exactly. It's a human nature thing. I mean, okay, for her aspect, she's married. She could have behaved a little bit better.
Yeah.
Because it clearly isn't Cody's fault. I don't blame Cody for that at all, because Cody's a single guy. He can do whatever he wants.
I feel like Cody's just being really nice, and I feel like he crossed the line a little bit as well, but he
didn't say no, but she didn't say no either.
Yeah, it was a very mutual decision.
And I would say the same thing. I think if it was the other way around, if Christine was single and Cody was married and he was doing the same thing, like, I would see that as the same barriers being crossed,
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter that, like, he's the boy and she's the girl, whatever. The married person in this situation is doing the wrong thing because they've made a commitment to somebody else.
Yeah, and that's just how it goes. But I think the people who booed her, they don't know the situation. Or
they don't know what they talked about, too. If I was going to go on Big Brother, I would be like, listen, girlfriend, I'm going to do whatever I have to do to win this game.
Yeah.
If that means... Obviously, I'm not gonna have sex with somebody, but if that means cuddling up with somebody, being affectionate with somebody, whatever, that's what I'm gonna do to win.
Yeah.
And
don't be jealous.
And you need to do that because you need to get those close relationships, because if you don't have those connections, those really deep connections, then those people are the ones that are voting you out because they don't care.
They don't care.
And they're the ones that are not voting for you in the finale because they don't have those connections.
I feel like that's one of Cody's strengths so far.
Absolutely.
He's built these personal connections with people, and he's such a personable, loving guy that, it works in his favor.
And that's when Paulie was in here, his brother, talking about him, that's Cody's weakness, but it's also his strength. He's got a good social game.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so next week, we don't know in terms of what's happening for the HOH competition. They did not even start it. We could probably get on the leak site and find out.
I don't think they'd play tonight. I think they would probably play to tomorrow
with the double HOH
Saturday.
thing. I don't know. So we're going to find out what happens. But do you want to go ahead and do some AfterBuzz TV predictions for what you think might happen next week?
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
All right. So I don't know. It depends on who wins HOH. So let's just kind of run this down in the aspect of
if who wins.
If who wins, right. So if Victoria wins... I'm sorry. No,
let's start with that. We're going to give her the benefit of the doubt.
If Victoria wins, she's not putting up
Derek.
She's putting up Frankie and Caleb.
Frankie and Caleb.
Derek won't let her put up Cody because they have the alliance.
Mm-hmm.
So that's happening. If Derek wins, then it's going to be Frankie and Caleb.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's not going to put up Victoria because he's got the vote, and he's not going to put up Cody because they have the alliance. Same with Cody. I think Cody will talk, and it'll probably be Frankie and Caleb as well.
Yeah.
Because Derek will convince him to keep Victoria. So here's where the wrench in the wheel can potentially be. If, Derek can't win because he won this week.
He can't win, yeah.
Right. Sorry about that. My fault. I'm just thinking about everybody. So if Frankie wins, I feel like Frankie's putting up Cody and Victoria.
Yeah, he's going to put up Victoria because I feel like he still thinks he's in that,
She's
alliance.
The last one. They got to get Victoria out.
Yeah.
And he's going to put up Cody.
Yeah.
Because of all that stuff with Caleb and all that.
For sure.
Coming back around. But at the same time, do you think no, because Caleb dropped Cody's name.
Yeah.
All right. So if Cody wins, Frankie and
possibly Victoria. Yeah. Which, it makes sense because if one of them wins veto, they could always put up Caleb. So it works. If I was one of those boys, I'd get Victoria out.
They got to do the least amount of damage. So they put up pretty much everyone except maybe Derek and Cody put up Victoria.
Yeah.
Derek's gonna do anyway. They put up Victoria because she's the one that's been up the most, and it's very unmessy for them too.
If I was one of those guys, I'd be like, all right, I know I can beat Derek in a physical competition, maybe mental as well, because he hasn't been that great. Frankie and
you know what? It's funny is he has thrown them some too. So.
Some, but I think he's just not that good at competitions.
We'll see.
But yeah, if I was one of those boys, man, Victoria would be go. I know it's not the most strategic move. It is actually strategic because it gives somebody a chance to get second place at least.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so we will still be back next week on Thursday doing our show as usual because we are scheduled here at AfterBuzz on a schedule that is pretty tight because we do a lot of shows here at AfterBuzz. Like over 100 shows.
Yeah.
A lot of new stuff coming out for the fall, so totally come and check us out. Hey, I think it's that time for you to cue my music because we are about to roll this baby up out of here.
Hey,
guys, Francisco Thurston to my left, tell them where they can find you.
You guys can find me on Twitter at @TheFrancisco or on Instagram, Francisco Thurston. Follow along. I post tons of pictures.
Oh, yeah. James Wallington will be back next week. Keaton Markey will be back next week. Both out of town doing various things. James missed his flight coming home. He was supposed to be here tonight.
Supposed to be here, but, flights
That's all right. I'll be here next week, as always. And you can find me at RyanHooks92 on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, and on Snapchat. Guys, thanks for tuning in. We like you. Leave us comments. We'll catch you next week for our Big Brother After Show here on Thursdays AfterBuzz TV. We are out.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.